Hello and welcome. I'm Adri Gregan, and I am back for Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Today we're getting into episode 23 of season 1. I don't know why I stalled there. And we are getting into, I presume, the second round of this first class mage exam, I suppose it's called. And this one's going to be run by Zenza. Despite being a pacifist, it sounds like it's going to be a dungeon crawl of sorts, and I'm kind of excited for that because I'm really curious to see how the violence aversive Zenza proctors an exam of which has literally a 0% success rate. So it's going to be a challenge, obviously, and it's going to be quite interesting. Before we get into that, though, I wanted to cover a little bit of last episode. Last episode, even though we had some technical difficulties and I ended up losing the footage for the reaction, sorry about that, by the way, we had an excellent bit of downtime where we had a lot of fun kind of weaving through different stories and watching them interact over the course of this day, starting with Stark and Fern drama, which Fern apparently can't get enough of getting angry because she did it twice in the episode. But we were able to calm her down with food, as all good men are. Men, women, you get the point. The point is, we had a lot of good food, and it not only made Fern happy, it also made the audience happy because we had some great lessons taught by Himmel again, which honestly shouldn't even be surprising anymore, but also from Frieren herself. One line in particular stuck out to me, the point in the flashback where Himmel told Frieren the way to be remembered is to change someone's life, even just a little. And I noticed that he didn't really say for the better necessarily. And it's true, right? If you change somebody's life for the worse, then you will be remembered still. You will be remembered in infamy, to be fair, but it's being remembered all the same. So, in a sense, someone like the Demon King also followed Himmel's advice, I suppose. And I think that's really interesting, kind of that duality of having a legacy, of going down in history. But it's more than going down in history, right? It's just being remembered. Even something as simple as letting someone get in front of you in the supermarket line or giving a homeless man a $20 bill. It's not a grand gesture. You won't get any statues out of it, but that kindness will echo, and there's a good chance you will be remembered because you changed somebody's life, even just a little. There were a lot of other really interesting things that happened. We saw Land approach some kitties, a kitten who found her mother, and they ran off when they saw Land, or potentially Ubel right behind him. A detail I didn't really think about, but makes a lot of sense. But Land seemed to be happy nonetheless, and Ubel seems to be happy sticking with Land so that she can learn his technique, because that is something she can do. And I realize I'm using JJK terminology, but she can learn his spells, right? Through empathy, of all things. What an interesting character to bring back the concept of empathy. I was not expecting it out of Ubel, of all people. But sure enough, she can summon a admittedly inferior, kind of wobbly, but nonetheless unmistakable binding spell that Weirbo had used against her. So I assume now she's sticking close to Land, kind of pestering him, trying to get to know him so that she can eventually copy his, well, clone ability. And that's really fun. We also had Weirbo, the man in question, going over and appraising Stark and taking him off, or taking off with him. Sorry, Freudian slip, because those are just things that just happen to Stark nowadays, as well as being approached by Grandmaster elderly people who seem to make a hobby out of pretending to have trained youths to mastery. And none of this pre-up prep will make any sense if you, for some reason, haven't seen the last episode. But if you have, then me jumping around, I think, is perfectly in character for the episode. I also just realized that my OBS hasn't been capturing the screen. It was frozen, so I had to restart that. That was a close one. Anyways, we're going to move on from the basic recap, and we're going to go into the comment of the day. This one is by Mr. Light, a regular with this series and with JJK. And today he brought up the, first of all, forgiveness of Denkin fans because of my apology last episode. If you haven't seen that, check that out. I severely misjudged him and missed a lot of the subtext that made his performance against Frieren, even though he didn't win. It's something to remember and something very worthwhile. But the thing that I wanted to bring up more than that is what follows that. Despite the series being perceived by much of the audience as much more deliberate than action series like JJK, which is plenty deliberate on its own. It's pretty uncommon for people to look at action scenes as anything more than eye candy when the actions and intentions of each character are not explicitly stated through dialogue or narration. And it's understandable as the vast majority of action scenes in anime are either explicit when they're being deliberate or are just eye candy with generic moves. Like those thousands of anime sword fights of two characters meaningfully clashing swords before they butt heads and then exchange a little bit of dialogue before getting back to it. So when a duel is hyped up by the story, just like we saw with Denken versus Frieren, that then ends with no real surprise on the result and is rather quick, it's hard not to be disappointed. Even though everything was subtextual, all the brilliance of the fight, and you just may not have seen it. Then he goes and brings up the battle between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan in Star Wars Rebels, which I have not seen, unfortunately. But the thing that I really wanted to bring up here is the idea of subtext and of presenting your story in a way that may potentially be overlooked by the common viewer. And I think this is a really interesting topic, something that I've given a little bit of thought to, but have never really put words to. And it's something that seems rather obvious at first glance, but the more you look into it, the more muggy the muddled waters become. So let's dive in. Is it better for a studio to produce an anime in a way that's easily accessible to everybody without leaving much to subtext? Or is it better to leave as much as you can to subtext, show, don't tell, and make it a better work of art that you really have to dig into? But if you don't dig into it, then you'll miss a lot of things. Like the Denkin versus Frieren fight. There was basically no narration over the fight, there wasn't any, and the characters, we didn't even see the characters voicing how their strategies were playing out. It all just played out in front of us, and it was up to us to catch it or not. Now, the reason I say this seems pretty obvious at first glance is because obviously most of us would prefer the latter, right? It's a much more engaging fight when we're not spending 10 minutes hearing the characters plan out their strategy in their heads and then react to it over 5 minutes. That's what shows like Pokemon and other kid shows are infamous for doing, and a lot of non-kid shonen shows. I think our gut reaction is to say it's better to leave it to subtext and leave more unsaid. I think as close to objectively as you can get, that just makes a better story, right? You want to leave out the fat. You want to trim out the fat. You don't want to explain everything to your viewer like they are a child. And that just seems like the obvious advice. And I'm not saying it's not the best way to do it. But I want to challenge us to look from the other perspective. And this debate that I'm going to be presenting to you is going to be in a very similar manner to the red button, blue button dilemma that is going to be the subject of the stream of the following Saturday. So not this Saturday, but the next. We're going to be talking about the red button, blue button dilemma. And if you haven't heard of it, go ahead and look it up. If you have heard of it, you're probably going to be frustrated hearing like how's their whole a whole stream around it. We'll get there. But this is kind of a little taste of that. Initially, you want to say that following the writing advice and having something more subtextual is better, right? Because it leaves more up to the reader's imagination, and it assumes that they have the intelligence to figure things out together, to connect those dots, and it doesn't need to like spoon feed them. That on its surface is really good. However, much like the red button, blue button dilemma, I think going all in on that side neglects the reality that provides a lot of support for the other side. With the red button, blue button, it's obvious. Anyone with a logical brain would choose the red button because there's no point choosing the blue button. Everyone touches the red button, everyone survives. 100% guaranteed. But it's not that simple, is it? In this hypothetical, you are drawing up an idealized form of the people around you. In truth, there are people who won't think about that and choose the blue button. And those people you are basically sentencing to death, assuming the red button gets the majority. I'm not going to delve into it here, though I'm already like sliding down that slope. The reason I'm bringing that up is because we tend to create an idealized version of the hypothetical scenario that we're presented with. In this case, we say we want the subtextual, deep, objectively better story writing, But if we do that, then you get a fight like Denkin versus Frieren, or potentially something worse. The majority of an audience for an anime and for most shows are going to be casual, right? Obviously, that's the whole point. They're casual viewers. They're going to make up the majority naturally. And as an artist, it's tempting to want to say that we should go all in and make every piece of art, every anime, as strong a work of art as we can. But in reality, are we willing to sacrifice the enjoyment of the majority of people who watch this? Because if you do miss out on this all the subtext of Denkin versus Frieren, then it is this battle that Denkin hypes up all this much, and then is over in a matter of minutes. And Denkin seems to have made a fool of himself because it takes a lot more digging to see the brilliance of his strategy and really how well he thought this through and everything he brought to the table. None of that is presented to the audience, so for a casual viewer, it's very easy to miss all of it. So, as much as we want this to be the best work of art as we can, and I'm sure it's pretty obvious if you're watching this, then I know what kind of viewer you are, and if you're watching this far, then you probably are that kind. You probably know which side I'm on, or which side I lean more towards. But the whole reason I'm bringing this up is because I want to bring up the other side as well. I want to bring up the idea that if we are going to entertain this hypothetical with any sort of integrity, we need to genuinely look at the side we've chosen and apply it to the real world, not our idealized hypothetical. We need to think about the fact that, yes, there are a lot of people who are going to enjoy the show a lot less because a lot less is explained to them. As a result, maybe they will like the show less, and maybe the show will get worse ratings, and then it won't be as popular, and then all these ripples come out, right? I'm not saying that's a good defense as to why we should make more lazy art that spoon feeds information to our viewers, but it's a perspective worth entertaining because it's just true. I mean, take a look at JJK. It walks that line quite well, I think. It does have the narrator like talking through the different strategies and explaining things to the audience so much that that's one of the large memes around it. But at the same time, you can enjoy it fully just from a casual viewing. But if you dig deeper, then you find all these different allegories and all these metaphors and all the different inner workings of these different techniques. And there's a lot more. There's a whole underworld, right? There's a whole iceberg without really sacrificing the casual viewer's experience. Now, am I saying that's better than what Frieren does? No. Personally, I think I would like it more if they did what Frieren did and they just didn't explain anything and they left everything to you figuring it out. I think that's really interesting, and even if I don't appreciate it on the first go around, I have a community I can look to that can point things out to me and elucidate me on these things that went over my head because there's quite a lot of them. But it would be remiss of me to neglect all the people who won't engage with communities or will just watch it and go, that was disappointing, moving on. And the massive people who will say that and then will rate the show accordingly. I think that is enough of a concern that it's worth entertaining that other side. So it's not a completely imbalanced argument, right? A debate. I think both sides are worth entertaining. And I'm really curious to hear your thoughts because I don't really have a solution here. I just want to present both sides. I think if you know me, you know which side I prefer. But I'm more interested in hearing what you have to say and building up this discussion because I'm only one person, of course, right? So let me know your thoughts, whether you think it's better for a show to say as little as possible and be very subtextual and force you to really engage with it to appreciate it for all it's worth, or if you think it's better for a show to be more overt, to show off these things and explain to the audience so that the slowest people can also enjoy this work of art without having to go into the comments after the video and do their research. I think both are valid, so whichever side you choose, please do explain it, and I'd love to read your comments down below. And if your comment is really good, and it doesn't have to be about that, it can be about the episode or something I said you agree or disagree with, leave it in the comments. I read every single one. And if it's really worth discussing, then I will bring it up in the next episode, in the next comment of the day. So go ahead and do that, and I hope to see you down there. But with all that said, let's just hop into the video. Real quick before that, if you want to see the video, the reaction unaltered, the audio and visuals are filtered slightly in order to avoid copyright, go ahead and check out the Patreon. It's $2 a month for the full uncut reactions. Full uncut. They're uncut on YouTube still, but it doesn't have the filters on it. So if you like that, then go ahead and check out Patreon. It also gives you access to our Discord. The Discord is free though, and it gives you access to bonus votes for the polls, which eventually one will come up once I finish Frieren Season 1 and 2. So if that interests you, check out the link in the description for Patreon. But I'm going to put that YouTuber housekeeping stuff out of the side. We're going to hop into Frieren Season 1, Episode 23. And apparently things are going to start getting quite intense because people are noting how it was a good thing I got my technical difficulties out last time, or at least hopefully I did, because I'm in for quite a treat, it sounds like. They certainly do. We certainly have. We certainly will. But thank you for the concern. Okay. Her eyes are really interesting. They're not the typical, like, empty kudere look. They're kind of look a little bit sad, like the upturned eyebrows. It's kind of unusual. By the way, I haven't heard the season 2 opening or ED. Like with this one, I'd heard Haru and listened to it years before I got here. I have not heard a second of the opening or the ending for the next season, so it's going to be completely blind when I get there, and I'm quite excited for that. Though it is very bittersweet that I'll eventually have to say goodbye to Haru. One of my favorite songs. So interesting how most of this opening fits into the episodes we've already seen. I'm sure there's even more things they're hinting at the next like 5 episodes, but 6 episodes, I think. But it already feels almost like a complete opening. Everything except for the Zedia stuff. Conquering the Labyrinth. Dungeon Raid, classic. The Ruins of the King's Tomb. Is it just called that, or is there a whole lot more lore to this? Just reaching the depths. In other words, there's no fighting that's necessary. Yeah, you just have to reach the bottom. But you're probably gonna have to fight anyways. Yeah, I'm really curious how that ended up happening. She's got such an interesting look in her eyes. It's the first time for everything, right? Oh, really? Oh, it's her hair's moving around. Huh. Okay. An escape golem, so in case you're in danger. And I assume you'll be disqualified. Is that why no one's passed? Everyone's had to use the golem or die? That... I like what's in fetal position. That's where she differs from the other proctor. No, so you can't keep it in your pocket. Okay, so you got like a day. Split the groups, discuss. Yubo still with land. Yeah. That ever-present smirk. The Unified Dynasty.
それぞれの入り
Interesting.
口を調べればある程度の内部構造がわかるだろう。
It's
全員で
gigantic.
手分けをして、
なぜ協力する流れになっているんだ。
Yeah, it is pretty notable how they kind of went into their old groups.
今
I
回
mean,
の
might
試
as
験
well,
には
right?
争う要
Yeah.
素がない。全員で協力した方がいい。
Everyone who reaches the bottom makes
それ
it.
は無理だな。
Hmm.
第一次試験とは違って合格条件に仲間の生存がない。
Worried
徒党を
about
組んだ
dead
ところで
weight.
仲間を助ける義理はないし、いざという時は捨て石にされるリスクまである。
Hmm. That's one way of
特
looking
に
at
あ
it.
んたはダンジョンに詳しいようだしな。俺は一人で行く。
Fair enough. Don't quite agree with that, but it's perfectly valid.
まあ、第一次試験のしがらみもある。少なくともよく知らねえやつとは組めねえよな。行くぞ。
Okay, good.
ちょっと
Because you might as well, right? People you've already worked with.
バカ
Realistically, there's no reason not
協
to.
力する
Yeah.
ことの優位性に気づけんとは。
It is true, though, working with people you haven't worked with before
い
is
いんですか？
kind of asking for trouble.
協力はダメだね。もう成立しないよ。
Plus, as long as you're with Frieren, you've basically already passed. Unless there's more than dangerous monsters in there.
では私は君たちについていこう。
Hmm.
君
Interested
た
in
ちが一
Frieren?
番安全に最新部にたどり着けそうだ。
They
邪
saw
魔
her
しない
break
で
the
よ。
barrier, right?
しないよ。邪魔も手助けも。
Mm-hmm.
ここが一番安全なルートだよ。マッピングしながら慎重に進もうか。
Ooh, hologram map. One of the benefits of soft magic, you can just pull out anything like that, and it's just like, sure, why not?
そこの床。罠だから気をつけて。相変わらずダンジョンに詳しいですね。
Was she
前は
testing
そうでも
them?
なかったんだけれどもね。
Or was she actually about to step into a
ヒメ
trap?
ルがダンジョン好きだったから。
You just got it
魔
from
物の
him.
討伐以来でたくさんのダンジョンに潜ったんだよ。
I was more interested in the treasure
ダンジョンが
chests.
好きってどういうことですか？言葉通りの意味だよ。ワクワクするんだってさ。
Yeah,
わ
that
けがわ
sounds
から
like
ない
him
よ
all.
ね。
But the passion was contagious,
次
wasn't
の階
it?
層に続く階段だな。
そうか、こっちのルートは外れだな。さっきの分かれ道まで戻るぞ。
そうですね。
なぜだ。俺たちの目的は最新
Because then it'll be over too soon.
いつになったら学ぶんだ、アイゼン。
It's about the journey, not the
ダン
destination.
ジョンは一つの階層をすべて踏破してから次に進む
Yeah,
ものだ。
completionist. Let's go, Himmel. Let's go. You've got to explore every route. Come on. No. Every single RPG gamer understands.
それが一番じゃないか。
いつま
Have
でも
fun
こう
while
はいか
helping
ないよ。
people.
旅が進めば命がけのダンジョンも増えてくる。
そうだそうだ。
最後まで楽しめ
Keep
よ
an Ison's on her side.
楽しく冒険してダンジョンに潜って魔物を倒して宝を探して気がついたら世界を救っていたような
Wow.
そんな旅
What a
でした
great way of thinking.
それに
God. I feel like every discussion of these episodes is going to be from something Himmel
珍しい
said.
魔導書かもしれないしな。
何やってるの？早く戻るよ。
He said the G word.
わけがわからないよね。
And she's smiling. Have they still not gone in?
カンネ、行こうぜ。
Oh, tell me these four are gonna go together. Yeah. Come on. Come on. You're not just gonna let them go in, are you?
結局残ったのは5人か。
Hmm.
全員で協力して役割分担をすれば攻略の可能性は十分にあった。
I've got to think of a whole different way to get in
それだ
there.
けの実力者が揃っていたはずだったのだがな。
電検、みんながあんたほど割り切れるわけじゃない。第一次試験の最後にあんたも言っていただろう。
Hmm.
気に食わなかったんだろうさ。 より賢い連中が残った。そう思えばいい。
That's true.
少なくともこの中に
People who don't want to cooperate have already gone ahead.
罠にかかって足を引っ張るバカはいない。
Well, can't say that for sure, but
そん
one
な
can certainly
バカがこの
hope.
試験にいるものか。行くぞ。
Oh no.
この魔力
My old friend.
魔導書かも。フリーレン様、ミークハイトの判別結果見ましたよね。ミミックで
Is
す。
this why she keeps getting trapped in mimics? Because she can't resist
そ
herself?
の魔法の精度は
There's always the 1%
それがどうかし
chance.
たのですか？
Oh my
残りの
god.
1% を見破った偉大な魔法使いたちがいたからこそ。
Sure thing, Frieren. Just open it already. You look so confident. And yet, somehow, I have no faith in
やっ
you.
ぱりそうだ。この中身は貴重な魔導書だよ。
Mm-hmm.
私の魔法使いとしての経験がそう告げている。
I'm sure there is. Oh my god. She's just slowly getting gobbled. Oh, I feel like we don't get to see this side of her nearly enough. Mimic is not letting go. Sensei is like, what have I done? Hey, the most brilliant people are often the quirkiest. You just gotta take the good with the ugly.
中心の床は踏むなよ。天井が落ちてくるぞ。
Ooh.
まさかそこの人型のシミって。
Don't think about it too much.
骨も残らないのか。
Oof. Reminds me of the shadows left behind after an atomic bomb. In this case, probably just being ground to dust. Hey, gargoyles! Mm-hmm. Haven't seen one of those in a while. Oh, hi, Laughing. Very nice. Yeah, these guys have their teamwork down pat. Oh, we can see what she can do too. I don't think we have her name yet, but she knows what she's doing. All right. Oh dear. She gonna use the or are we gonna have to go rescue her?
電検、一人閉じ込められた。
わかっている。
Can you go back for her?
下がっている。
Good. Dinkin's not the type to just leave her behind after all.
やはりダメか。やむをえん。理由をあれ。
Yeah. All right, let's see what these guys got. Ooh. Beeline to the exit. And then there were 4.
脱落か。
Unfortunate too. She just got like knocked in there.
少しの油断が命取りになるな。
Wasn't even really a fault of hers. It's relentless. They're still trying to pull her out. Oh my god, Frieren. Gotta at least do something, or has she just lost her spirit? Can't you like cast a spell from inside there or something? Oh, it's like those Chinese finger traps. Yeah, it's just like when a dog bites you. You actually put your exactly put your mouth in and then it gags. It's just that easy.
全く一人の時はどう処理していたんですか攻撃ので内側から爆破していた
You didn't want to catch them in the crossfire? It messes your hair up. Why am I even surprised? Oh, wow! Give you a full hairstyling.
そういうことだったんですねなんでじゃあ気を取り直して
And she didn't want to explain it because trauma. Alright, Zenza, be honest. How many more mimics are there between here and the exit?
ガーゴイルだ動き出す前に倒すよ
Similar room.
この目で
Hey!
いろんな場所で見かけますね
Actual treasure chests. Figures the ones that are hidden are generally going to be actual chests.
こっちは正規のルートっぽいから引き返すよ
I feel like you don't need an advanced spell to figure that out. Oh, cute little hop in her step. Yeah, more mimics, of course. How did I know? How did I know?
構造的にもう最深部は近いはずだしどちらにせよ油断は禁物だね次の現実を見つけたら一旦休憩にしようか
Ooh, is that their loot?
いいもの手に入ったね
Where in the world have you even been storing those? Just got some serious hammer space.
わからんなですよねあんなもので喜べだなんて
And like ridiculously happy too. Friren's such an odd character.
その若さで君ほど優秀な魔法使いは見たことがない
That makes
相当な
sense.
修練を積んだはずだなのに君からは情熱も執念も感じない不思議な子だ私はとある人に恩を返すために一人前の魔法使いになりました
Hider.
それは当時の私の人生の目標で
That's why she chose magic, right?
その先があるだなんて
It made him
考えもし
smile.
ませんでしたきっとそ
She
の
just
時
happens to be insanely
情熱も
gifted
執念
at that.
使い果たしてしまったのでしょうならなぜ君は魔法の探求を続けているんだ
Because Friren's doing it.
フリーレン様楽しそうでしょそうだな私が初め
All
て
for
ダンジョン
someone
に
else's
潜った時
sake.
もフリーレン様はガラクタみたいな魔道具を集めて楽しそうに笑っていました
Or is it just because you like seeing other people smile?
つられて笑ってしまったんです
Yeah. Smiles are contagious.
そんなフリーレン様の姿が
Oh.
一緒に魔法を
Oh,
見慣れている
that's
の
so
だと思います
great. It's so perfect for her character, too. Oh, that's so perfect. And Zenza is smiling
やっぱり君たちに
too.
ついてきて正解だったようだきっと君たちならこの過酷なダンジョンも楽しむことができる
Tanoshimukoto. Is this the bottom floor? The sealed gate and everything? Oh. What was that? I wonder if this is going to be a two-parter, if we're actually going to get through it this episode. I feel like it's got to leave off on a cliffhanger.
なんだもう歩けなく
拘束されたわ魔力を
Huh.
消した魔法使いが3人奇襲よ
Is that you, Bells?
シャルフ視界を遮れエールにかけられた魔法はソルガニールだ
Looked a little bit more solid than that, though. But why? those shards look crazy.
霊落の応募が難攻不落だったわけだぜ。
Don't tell me it's like copies of them. It is.
こんなものがいるだなんてね。
Oh my goodness. You have to basically fight yourself. How interesting.
突破するぞ。
And they've got to fight him too. Ooh, what an interesting twist. Are they only fighting that one? Or are the other two waiting it back? They must be, right? Oh, that was clean. Damn, she is powerful. She is really
によ
powerful.
って作られた複製体だな。魔族か魔物の仕業だろ
Who the heck is she?
う。だが、これほど完璧な他者の複製は見たことがない。魔力も技量も
Yeah, it
ラオ
is
フェンと
eerily similar.
所作もそうだ。記憶さえも利用している可能性がある。
Bit of a violation of
あ
privacy.
まりいい気分じゃないね。
救いがあるとすれば一目見て偽物だとわかるところだな。少なくとも同士討ちの危険性はない。
仮にこの魔法の使い手が複数の複製体を同時に操れるとしたら恐ろしいほどの脅威になりますね。
Seriously.
どちら
And
に
it is
せよ
doing
徒党を
multiple,
組んでい
so
て正解だったな。
when the world is at the depths of this place.
対処できる手段も増える。
Don't tell me it's Zenza doing this. Oh. Into the central room. And floating down, is that Frieren?
あれも対処できるのか。
Don't tell me they have to fight a copy of Frieren. Oh no.
一つだけ言えるのは
He's gonna have war
これが試
flashbacks,
験
isn't
で
he?
なかったらわしはとうにビールを割っておる。
Oh no! Oh, poor Denkin. He did not deserve this. This is being right. God, it really captured their expressions to a T. Oh, God. What a great line. If this weren't a test, I would have shattered my bottle already. Oh, Denkin, you are incredible. Absolutely incredible. Oh, I had a feeling it'd be a two-parter. There seemed to be too much to this test. I mean, makes sense. It's two of, I presume, three. I assume the third one will be a tournament arc style thing because you've always got to have a tournament arc, right? And it just makes sense, right? The first test is testing in groups that you didn't get to form. The second one, you're free to do what you want. Everyone can cooperate if you want. Whereas the third one would be individual battles, testing your skill on your own. So that just kind of makes sense. I do wonder who'd proctor it, though, because we only have these two proctors. Unless it's Zedia herself. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We still have to figure out how to defeat Frieren. Who's probably not quite as strong as her, but they're clearly really good replicas. So this is going to be really interesting to see how it plays out. Never gets old.
実力が互角なら勝ち負けは
私の目を見てください。
不可能ではないんだ。
Next time, perfect replicas. All right, that was Frieren Season 1, Episode 23. We enter the labyrinth, and we have quite the plethora of challenges facing us, which is hardly surprising. I mean, it's a dungeon crawl, right? We all know what a dungeon crawl is. And, oh my god, I was wondering how this would play out as somebody who purportedly hates fighting and yet always designs tests so difficult that no one can pass. And I mean, this answer is perfect, right? It's not about fighting, it's not strictly about combat, but nonetheless, it has challenges so threatening, so genuinely dangerous that she gives you an out, and pretty much everyone has probably taken it. I love this line. It's such a simple one, and the expression is also so simple, but there's something about it, right? There's a look of, I mean, what are you talking about, right? If you're not ready for this, then leave. There is no hesitation, no uncertainty in her eyes whatsoever. And despite her voice being so flat and her expression being so emotionless, largely, not emotionless, but being so cold, I suppose, it's just oozing with personality, which is really cool. It's a twist on this kind of character that I haven't seen very much. And the way things she's saying makes perfect sense, right? There's a first time for everything. If her tests have a 0% success rate, then that just means no one has met her criteria. And assuming since she's a proctor, presumably she was given that position by Zedia herself, so you're just not good enough. The standard's been raised. The bar's been raised. If you think it's impossible, then it might as well be, because that's part of the essence of magic, right? It's about what you can visualize. It's about what you believe, whether you can convince yourself you're capable of accomplishing it. If you don't believe you are, then you won't. And if you are, then you might stand a ghost of a chance, which is perfect considering where we leave the last the episode on. So we go through all the rules. We learn that she has she can control her hair's miniature tentacle powers, and she's got these she's got these experimental golems, it sounds like, as a way to make sure that nobody necessarily dies. Everyone gets into their groups of people they're familiar with, because naturally, right? Why wouldn't you? Except, of course, being Ubel and Land. Land, who is kind of stuck with Ubel. I look forward to seeing how they got through a lot of this next episode, because presumably we will. And then we get to the first really interesting conflict here. On the surface, this seems trite. This seems like forced drama for the sake of it. But I think it's a really interesting contrary point to bring up. It's a devil's advocate, if you would. Except he obviously fully believes it. He's not just saying for the sake of argument. But for the writer to bring this up, Yamada, I believe their name is, why are you acting like we're working together? There's no reason for us to fight. It's better for us to all cooperate. If everyone makes it down, everyone passes. No. Unlike in the first test, our companion's survival is not a condition for passing. We are not obligated to help each other, and we risk becoming somebody's sacrificial pawn if the need arises. You in particular seem knowledgeable. I am not going to be your pawn. I mean, at its core, this sort of feels like a self-report, right? He who smelt it dealt it. If you're bringing something up and no one else has brought it up, and no one else even indicated that they were thinking like this, then you're probably the one who was thinking it. If you've seen some of the internet drama around a certain game that's been released lately, and people going up in arms about the true motives of people who are interested in playing the game, which has this father-daughter relationship, and people are getting weird with it, but not the actual people playing it, just the people criticizing other people. And just like that, this feels like a bit like projection, right? No one else was really thinking it. You're the one who said it, not me. The idea that we don't have to work together, meaning I don't have to carry any dead weight. I don't have to protect you because I did have to for the first test. But here, I don't have to protect other people, and also I don't have to worry about being a sacrificial pawn. On the surface, that kind of makes sense. But really, it just strikes me as being something that he's projecting on other people. It sounds to me like he's worried he'll be a sacrificial pawn, or that other people will be dead weight around him. A fairly arrogant way of thinking. But like I said in the episode, it's not without merit. It's not invalid. Because he's right. And we kind of saw that. The girl who ended up breaking the golem didn't become dead weight, but she lost focus for a second and got knocked away and almost got killed. Thankfully, that didn't actually harm the team at all, so it didn't really work against them that she ended up in a precarious situation. So I guess even then, we didn't really see this playing out. But as we see later, as other people mention later, it's also true that if we all group together and we don't know how each other work, we don't have good synergy with each other, then yeah, we could end up stepping on each other's feet. It could be an issue. I don't think it's reasonable to really expect to become a sacrificial pawn. I think you're expecting way too much of other people that they've planned so far ahead they'd be able to do that in the moment's notice. But they're on the surface valid concerns. It makes enough sense, right? It's one of my favorite things to say, usually about like mental health and about forming these logical fallacies and forming these negative beliefs about yourself. They make enough sense. And if it makes enough sense to you, then you may end up acting on it like he does. But it is a shame, right? Because at the end of the day, yeah, we could just all work together. There's nothing that says only this many people can pass. All Denkin could really say is, we're not going to do that. We wouldn't leave you behind. And maybe we're not dead weight, but it's true. We don't have very good synergy necessarily with people we don't know. So there's a lot of fair arguments to bring here. He doesn't bring that one up, interestingly enough. I think, again, he's more just not trusting of other people. And that's kind of his own insecurities that he's passing on to other people. We're all carrying baggage. There it is. I can't work with anyone I don't know well, which makes perfect sense. It's perfectly valid. Everyone starts going because might as well, and she decides to tag along because you guys seem like you will be the safest group. Get a cool little hologram map. Frieren actually sort of saves Zenza here, kind of, maybe? She may have just been trying to step on it or not really caring where she was walking because she's not going to go out of her way because she said she's not going to help nor interfere. So if she's just going to walk straight, I think that's what it is. I think she was going to walk into it knowing it was there, but she wasn't going to avoid it because that would be helping them in a sense. But Frieren told her to dodge, so she will. It's on their merits, right? Once again, with the transitions that they love so much from the new team to the old. And then we get into the best part of the episode. And of course, it's Himmel. These stairs lead to the next floor. Dang it, we got there too quickly. Oh, let's keep going. Got to map out the rest of this dungeon. That's our goal, right? That's our goal, but this is our journey. One must explore the entire floor before proceeding to the next one. Hidden items, special loot, unseen monsters, even just the terrain that's been generated for us. We'll miss all of it if we just go to the next route. Sure, we may die, we may get horribly injured, we may end up failing the mission entirely, but are we just gonna not see what else this has to offer? When's the next time we're gonna be here? Come on, be reasonable. And even though I don't play a whole lot of games anymore, the gamer in me is chomping at the bit to join Himmel's rallying cry here. You think I'm being foolish, right? You are being foolish, but it's the best kind of foolish. We all understand. And then he hits the first of several great lines. Isn't it best to be able to have fun while helping people? It won't always be like this. As we travel, they'll become even more life-threatening. And Eisen joins in. But I intend to enjoy it till the end. I'll have fun adventuring, raiding dungeons, defeating monsters, finding treasure, and before I know it, I'll have saved the world. That's the kind of adventure I want to have. Can Himmel stop being like the best character of the show for 5 fucking minutes? This is amazing. I love this. I absolutely adore this. And I love this on several different layers because I think I said this like this is the third time I've said this episode, but on a first glance, it seems pretty straightforward. I think most cynical people, most people who have had their enough share of life experiences to be cynical would say, this is ridiculous. We should just get it done. Why are you just screwing around and having fun? No, we should try to get the goal, especially when it's life-threatening. And yet, I think there's a stage after cynicism that a lot of people unfortunately never reach. A stage I'm honestly trying to reach myself. I can't say I've confidently done it, but I do think it's the stage you should want to reach beyond cynicism. It's where you circle back to where you started and return back to optimism. Perhaps nauseous optimism, perhaps cautious optimism, whatever kind you want to label it with. It's the belief that the world is screwed up. There's nothing is going to go your way. Things won't turn out all right in the end. And yet, I'm going to live like it will anyways. I am sick of cynicism. I'm sick of nothing mattering, and I'm going to live like things matter anyways. I'm going to live like the world never taught me the necessity of cynicism. I'm going to live with optimism. I'm going to have fun on this journey, and by the time I reach my goal, I'll be surprised that I'm there because I wasn't looking at it. I was too busy admiring the view around me. I was too busy having fun with my friends or on my own, regardless. Because if you reach your goal and you spent your entire journey looking at the goal, when you look back one day, what are you going to remember? 10 years of adventures, but only one day's worth of memories? The goal, the thing you couldn't take your eyes off of? Or are you going to remember raiding dungeons, exploring every floor, butting heads with your team, sounding foolish but proudly proclaiming your ideals anyways, saving people even just a little? All things that would be swept under the rug if you just stuck to the goal. Sure, this may be dangerous and we may get killed if we stay here longer, but if we go straight to the goal, a meteor may fall from the sky and kill us anyways. Who knows, right? We can't play these games of what if. All we can do is see the options in front of us, pick the best one given our information, and proceed. And if proceeding means taking a detour away from our goal, for the sake of having fun and for the sake of creating memories, for the sake of our journey, then so be it. Because I'm tired of cynicism and I'm going to live as if I were not in a cynical world. I'm going to live and adventure as if the world were as bright and wonderful as I saw it as a kid. Because it is. Because it is both cynical and fantastic. It is both heartbreaking and wonderful. It is both dreadful and brilliant. It's both parts. So why are you trying to approach the world with just cynicism? You need to have cynicism and optimism. Otherwise, you are going in with a bias into a world of balance that has both the good and the bad. So why are you approaching it with just the bad? You might as well have fun. And in the best case scenario, you'll have everything to show for it, right? So yeah, it is foolish. It's foolish to risk your life taking longer to get to the end of the road, to get to your destination. But if that's foolish, then I'll gladly play the fool. Oh, there might be grimoires. We gotta go. Great free-written comedy this episode. Great comedy for Frieren all throughout this. Then there were 5, 2 people we haven't seen before, one of which, at least I don't think we have, one of which we don't see for very long, and the other which is incredibly powerful, as we see. So then we get here. You saw the results of the spell. It's obviously a mimic. We only know that with 99% certainty. And if Himmel's taught me one thing, is that gamer instincts are correct, and I've won more with less. And all the times I didn't win more with less, and I lost way more with more, don't worry about those. Those are oddballs, even if they're the majority. Historical discoveries have been made by great mages who recognize that remaining 1%. This is a comical line, obviously, right? This is a joke. This is ridiculous. We obviously know it's a mimic. It's clearly setting up to be a mimic. She looks so smug and so confident and so proud that it has to be undercut. And it is. The predictability isn't the point. I think the point is that not only is this really funny, but it's also kind of meaningful, isn't it? Because it's true. If you only live your life looking at odds and at possibilities, and you only take odds that are in your favor, whatever you define as in your favor, whether it's 51%, 80%, 99%, if you only take those odds, and you're gonna miss out on a lot in life, right? And sure, those are extreme. This is on the extreme other end of it. I wouldn't say being somebody who takes 50-50 odds is the same as being somebody who takes 1% odds. That's a little bit more risky. But if everybody followed this logic, real or fictional, then we wouldn't have very many stories, would we? We wouldn't have the vast majority of stories where the protagonist goes against odds that are 99.99% of death. And we roll our eyes at the ridiculousness of that, but we stay on the edge of our seats because it touches on an inherent truth of humanity that we do want to be the underdog, we do want to achieve, and we recognize that most things that are truly, completely worth achieving, that most people can't achieve, they can't achieve for a reason, right? Because the odds are so ridiculously low that no reasonable person would take it. And if no person ever took it, reasonable or otherwise, we wouldn't have the society we have today. We only have all the amazing things we have today because people constantly decided to be unreasonable and take that 1%. So it's kind of a phenomenal line. It's kind of wonderful, and the everything about this scene is just so great. You can't help root for her, even though you know it's gonna fail. And then her voice acting here is super cute. It's dark and scary, kawaii, kawaii. And she's just slowly getting devoured by it, and it is just not letting go. Poor Sensei does not know what to make of any of it, for good reason. We get into this encounter. She gets trapped. They try to break free, but she has to get out. And we get a nice example of those little pocket golems. Stop pulling, you're gonna rip me in half. Instead, push, just like a dog. They bite your hand, just push inside, and they'll gag and let you out in seconds. And sure enough, it works. How did you do it? I didn't. I learned a lot of new hairstyles. Let's pull ourselves together and keep going. Even though I'm the only one who really needs to pull myself together. They run into gargoyles, they found some actual good change, and Frieren has some crazy hammer space. And while she's going through it, we get a really nice moment from Fern. I mean, we get great moments from Frieren too, of course. Rubbing it on her cheek. You're the one I don't understand. I've never seen a mage as skilled at you at your age. You must have trained rather hard, yet I sense no passion or determination in you. What a strange girl. I became a mage to repay a debt, to Hyder who saved me. I devoted all my effort without considering anything that would come after that. So I must have used all my passion and determination then. Well, what are you still doing here then? Well, Frieren's having a lot of fun. And whenever she smiles, I smile too. And that's super wholesome. It's super wholesome. It's something we've seen before. It was never explicitly said, and I'm very glad it hasn't been, because this is a great sort of reveal for people who haven't caught on before. But the moment in episode 3, I think, when Frieren asks Fern why she practiced magic, and she remembers a moment when she was a little kid and she released magic butterflies in front of Hyder, and he was smiling, he was in awe. She wasn't in awe of the butterflies, she was in awe of Hyder's smiling face. And then she writes it off saying that it could have been anything, but I just felt like choosing magic, which allowed her to connect with Frieren. But the real important thing there, I think, was the implication that seeing Hyder happy made her happy. It gave her fulfillment. Even though she wasn't helping him, right? She didn't decode any crazy grimoire. She just made him smile, and that's changing someone's life, even just a little. Thanks, Himmel. Wrapping back around to that here and getting the answer to a question that's hasn't really been openly posed until now. Why are you still with Frieren? You could say, yeah, it's out of duty, it's out of obligation to hide her, and I think that's valid. Hyder wanted her to go on this journey and for Frieren to take care of her, so she's doing it. If she were just doing that, then that wouldn't explain why she's putting so much effort into it, why she's trying so hard, and why she's putting herself out there and putting herself out dealing with Frieren and all the crazy characters they come across. There has to be a deeper motivation, and here we see it. She just likes seeing Frieren smile. Because smiles aren't contagious, and yes, you could say it's living for somebody else. JJK, Principal Yaga is shaking his fist at the sky. You need an internal motivation that's not other people, but this isn't other people, right? It's not, I want to accomplish Friren's dream. It's, I want the self-gratification of seeing other people smile. It makes me happy. It's a selfish altruism. And I think it's just a valid motivation as any, because I understand it. Friren's super cute when she smiles. I like seeing her happy. I do too. So then we get this ominous show into the final room, and we see a binding spell, we see attacks. We realize that these spells are familiar. A bit too familiar. And they only have to fight against Laufin, thankfully. If they had to fight against Denkin too, that might have been troubling. Or maybe they already did, but it seems like it was just her. But yeah, they are eerily similar. Straight right up to their expressions upon their death. And then, if this weren't a test, I would have shattered my bottle long ago. But we can't afford to quit. It's time to fight the greatest mage alive. Or at least a golem copy of her. Oh boy, I can't wait for that. If you're excited for that too, please do subscribe to get notified as soon as I release the next one. And before you head out, please also do like. It really helps show the algorithm that people are engaging with it, and it shows me that you enjoyed it. So I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. And yeah, the Patreon comments, I've already explained those before. Go ahead and do those if you're interested. I hope to see you down in the comments. I do read every single one, but whatever you do, thank you for watching. That's the most important part. You're here with me, extracting this value out of these shows, because there's so much to extract, and this experience wouldn't be a fraction of what it is without you. So thank you for watching, and hopefully thank you for participating. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. But until then, have a lovely rest of your day.